to Bowerston, where what's the name of the trail, Alan?
Conotton Trail. It goes along the Conotton Creek.
And it is very remote and a little on the scary side, but we're going to give it a whirl.
Well, here we are, Carol, on the trail. Conotton. The locals call it Conotton. I think it's an Indian derivative of Conotton, but that's just me. Here we are in Conotton, on a Conotton trail. It goes from, what was that little town we went through? Bennett?
Bowerston.
Bowerston.
We started in Bowerston.
We go from Bowerston down to Jewett, which is interesting because we have a Jewett Road by where we live, and the Denison Rail Station was called the Panhandle, and we actually live on Panhandle Road. So, what are your first impressions of the trail? This is our first stop on the trail.
Well, I think First of all, you need to know it's an open, more of an open trail. There, you do go through some woods, but you don't have a lot of cover from the trees. So you need to definitely wear sunscreen, and it is not one that I would recommend on a hot day without a breeze.
Yeah.
Fortunately, today we do have a nice breeze, but it is much warmer than they predicted. But I would not want to do this trail on a day that was 95 degrees and no breeze or wind.
Correct.
The other thing I think that's interesting is it's listed as paved, but I guess that's all what you call paved.
It's a rough pave. So anybody who knows anything about paving knows a rough pave is where they basically spray tar down and then they put crushed limestone on top of that.
Yeah, you're definitely riding on crushed limestone, so it's a little bit of a rougher ride.
It's a rougher ride for sure.
But the thing that I think is interesting is all along the trail, they've invested money in quite a few really nice benches and
trash
cans. They've planted flowers in flower boxes. There's some picnic tables. So they've invested money in the trail. It's just not a true pave, what I would call pave, and what we've known by most of the trails that we've done that are listed as paved, it's usually a smooth asphalt. This is not. This is definitely, you are riding on crushed limestone.
Yes.
But it's nice. It's fun for something different. You're definitely in the middle of nowhere, and if you like riding alone, this would be a good trail to do.
Right. You're definitely more remote here.
Yes.
So when we pulled in, it's a really rickety little, kind of like a road off of the main road with a sign. It's clearly marked. It's got a State of Ohio brown and white sign like you'd see for recreational areas. Mm-hmm. And there was 2 parking areas, did have a porta potty.
Yeah.
And there's another rail line on the other side of, it looks more like a drainage ditch. Now, we just came upon this covered bridge, and we finally realized this is obviously over Conotton Creek, which is what the trail's named for, the Conotton Creek. So we figured that out. So I think we'll have some views of the creek maybe from here on. It's
marshy a lot, especially on the left side. There's a lot of marshy area.
Well, if you're riding towards Jewett, it's on the left side.
Sorry, yes.
So if you're headed south, it's on the east side of the trail. It's all marsh and swamp. Lots of benches facing the swamp because it's considered a what do they call it? A hatchery or a
rookery? You said.
A rookery.
Yeah, rookery.
This area is considered a rookery, so a lot of birds obviously stopping here probably on the migration north and south.
And I commented to Alan as we were riding that I was hearing a lot of bird calls that you don't typically hear.
Right.
You're hearing some different animals and some different birds that you don't typically hear.
Correct.
So that's kind of nice.
So overall, I'd say it's a good trail. It'd be a great fall trail.
Yes.
Further into fall when it's cooling off, maybe the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
Since you're not getting a lot of tree cover, obviously this area here is nice and shady.
But the majority of it that we've ridden so far is not shady.
Yeah. Well, these are the same computers that are telling us that there's climate change. Told us it was going to be 80 today. Well, it's 90. However, you guys, you can't trust computer algorithms.
Stop.
It's just...
Stop it.
Please stop. You know, take it from a guy who's worked outdoors for a living for 30 years. You get good years and you get bad years.
Don't listen to his 2 cents. He's just putting out his 2 cents.
No, this is definitely my 2 cents. But anyways, we're having a good time. We're making the best of it. And we're definitely out in the boonies.
Yes, of Ohio.
All right. See you in the next
Bye.
update. back. We ended up doing probably 12, 13 miles total instead of the original 20 just because of the heat.
Yeah, it's pretty toasty.
Pretty toasty.
And humid.
My sweet baby here she's usually in the AC where I'm outside sweating.
Don't listen to him.
But yeah, nice trail. A couple things. They have a lot of little shelter houses, like bench shelter areas. So I don't know, up ahead coming back north, it kind of looks like the sky's getting a little dark, which means you'd have a place to hide if you got a rain shower or thunder shower come through while you're on the trail, which would be nice.
I did want to mention that they do a good job of having mile markers, so if you don't have a cycling computer on your bike, you would be able to know how far you've come. So I think that that's nice. I think they've put a lot of thought into the trail. The shelters are nice. The picnic tables and benches are really nice. It's just not paved.
It's not paved, and there's a huge oil refinery. I know they do a lot of fracking on the east side of Ohio. And, this was a big oil state back in the late 1800s up to the 1930s. Now they got the new technologies, and there's a lot of oil production going on up the road here with oil tankers coming and going from the rails and from trucks. So I'll try to look that up by the time we edit this video, let you know what that is, because it's pretty impressive. It's a huge facility.
Yeah, it is big.
So what's my other thought on this trail? Oh, all the old rail bridges that go over the creek are covered. They have nice little covered bridges that are got the plaque on them who donated the materials or built the bridge, which obviously in this area is going to be the Amish or Mennonites, which is cool. So
I don't think I would recommend this trail for little ones, just because you have to work a little harder to cycle through the crushed limestone. In my opinion, it's a lot easier on a paved surface. So if you have little ones that are learning to ride or can't go very far, I don't think I would recommend.
It's firm. Trail. It's a firm surface, but it's not smooth.
Right, it's very bumpy.
That doesn't mean if it's crushed limestone you think that it's like gravel. Well, it's not. It's crushed limestone on top of a tar. So it is firm, but it's just not smooth. So
it's bumpy, and you have to work harder.
She doesn't like
to
the
cycle
bumpiness.
Across it.
Yeah, so that's basically it. Don't rely on the weather reports. Make sure you bring plenty of water. We each have 2 bottles, and I have a water filtration system in my pannier, as I showed you on one of my earlier videos, which is Are You Ready for the Rail Trail? You need to watch that video. There's some things you make sure you bring. If we had a flat tire, if one of us wrecked and we had to, damage bicycle and we had to walk back, that 2 bottles of water is not going to last us, and we could get down to the creek and still get some drinking water if we needed to.
Just be prepared. We always bring some kind of a snack also, in case you would run into some sort of an emergency and would need a little boost of energy.
Right.
It's a good idea to do that as well.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for coming along, and we will be back to riding the trail.